Doctor, would you agree that the failure to consider the most likely diagnosis would be a violation from the basic standards of medical care? Would you like to learn what this is about? Come join me as I share with you this great information. Hi, I'm Gerry Oginski. I'm a New York medical malpractice and personal injury trial lawyer practicing law here in the state of New York. Now, at a failure to diagnose case or a misdiagnosis case, one of the key things I want to establish when I have a chance to question the doctor at his deposition, which is a question and answer session. Now I have the ability to ask the doctor whether or not he considered something known as a differential diagnosis. Doctor, would you agree when evaluating a patient's condition, it is critical to formulate a differential diagnosis, either in writing or in your mind? Yes, I would. And doctor, the purpose of a differential diagnosis is to help you come to a conclusion about what type of problem the patient is suffering from, correct? Yes. And once you have identified the type of condition or diagnosis the patient has, now you can go ahead and best treat that patient with known diagnostic modalities. Isn't that true? Yes. And doctor, if you fail to consider the most serious cause or most serious diagnosis in light of the patient's presenting complaints, wouldn't you agree that that would be a departure from good and accepted medical practice? Objection, objection. Not the most serious, but the most likely. Now we have an argument on the issue of semantic words, whether it's the most likely possible cause or whether we're talking about the most serious possibility, because they could be two different things. The most likely one may not be the most serious on the list of possibilities that you may have. So now I'll go through with the doctor and ask him to give me a list of the most serious complications or diagnoses that you might have based upon your presenting complaints. And then I'll ask him to give me a list of the most likely ones. And what I will then do is then ask the doctor, okay doctor, you told me about the most likely one. What did you do to rule out that particular problem? What diagnostic or clinical tests did you then perform in order to rule in or rule out that the patient had that particular problem? Now let's go to the most serious one on your list. Did you in fact attempt to rule out that particular serious condition? Yes or no? And now, doctor, what clinical or diagnostic tests did you perform in order to rule out the most serious problem or complication this patient could be suffering from? And would you agree, doctor, that the failure to perform those tests to now rule out that diagnosis would be a violation from the standard of medical care? So why do I share this great information with you? I share it with you just to give you an insight and an understanding into what occurs in a misdiagnosis or a failure to diagnose case here in the state of New York. Yet I realize you're watching this because you likely have questions or concerns about your own medical malpractice matter. Well, again, if your matter happened here in New York and you do have legal questions, what I encourage you to do is pick up the phone and call me. I can answer your legal questions. This is something I do every single day and I'd love to talk to you. You can reach me at 516-487-8207 or by email at Gerry, Gerry, at oginski-law.com. That's it for today's quick video. I'm Gerry Oginski. Have a wonderful day.